All right, it looks like our numbers have slowed down just a moment. So I think we'll get started now, being conscious of everyone's time. Welcome. I'm Jeff Bear. I'm the Superintendent of Schools in Los Altos School District. And Sandra?
Hi there. I'm Sandra McGonigal. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and really here excited to chat with you tonight.
And we have some slides to run through to share information about our fantastic school district. And then we'll be sure to allow some time at the end to answer questions that you might have. We're going to work to be conscious of the time and end at 8 o'clock. If we don't get to all the questions, we are happy to answer those by email or telephone as well. Again, we're thrilled that you're here. We know it's a very exciting time in your lives, sending your little one off to kindergarten, to school for the first time. And we're excited that you're here with us tonight as well. All right, so let me get us started here. All right, so if you are here for kindergarten and new family information night, you are in the right place. Recognize that some of you may have attended in-person events at your neighborhood schools as well, and you may be here also, or this might be your first time and weren't able to attend an in-person event. Either way is fine. We're here to answer questions and get you ready to send your child in the fall or late summer, I guess, technically. All right, Sandra and I will tag team this. So Sandra has the first few slides. Sandra, go ahead.
Excellent. So I'm excited to share this graphic with you. This is a graphic that we worked on just a few years ago, really working with our community, our teachers, our families, to really define what is it we want for learners, for our students when they leave our school district. So we put a lot of work and effort into defining this future-ready learning student, and really ended up focusing on what we refer to as the 6 C's. So you can see the C's there. And hopefully you'll hear tonight, when you see more and learn more about our program, how woven these really critical skills are for our students throughout our programs. And this starts in TK. All of these pieces are really integral to our programs, and I'm sure you'll be able to see evidence of that as we go through. Next slide. There you go. One thing we value greatly as a school district is our student-centered approach to teaching and learning. And it's really a huge passion of mine and of our organization. And what does that mean, really? It means these things here, that we really make decisions based on what's best for students. We ensure that kids have opportunities to explore their own passions, that we are developing a program over time from TK through 8th grade. I know many of our families here tonight are probably looking just at TK or kindergarten, although we may have some older students as well, but you're really making a 8, 9, 10-year commitment to a school district, an investment in our school district. And we see that and take that really seriously to ensure that our students are front and center in everything we do. And this last line here is something we're so proud of, which I think is fairly unique. Each and every student is so well known within their school community, not just within their classroom, but within their grade level and within their larger school community. Our principals know students by name, and it's really important for us that every student feels known. Next slide. So what does that look like? And how does that impact our learning? So when we think about our approach to a student-centered learning experience, it really is these things. Because we know students so well, we're able to individualize learning for them. And this is across content areas. Our learning is hands-on because we know that all people, but especially children, learn best when they're able to use their hands and grapple with things and model things and prototype things. We get into different types of learning, whether it's problem or project-based learning or inquiry-based learning, where students are really grappling, even in TK and kindergarten, with big questions and ideas that, again, grow over years. And we really value collaborative learning. We know in today's workforce, very few people work independently, and we know that more minds makes more meaning. So we ensure that our students have lots of collaborative learning opportunities as they get through our school system. And all of that is rooted really in thoughtful social and emotional development for students. We're mindful that we are fostering both the academic needs of students and those social and emotional needs for our students as well, because we know healthy minds and healthy bodies lead to really great learning outcomes for students. Next slide. So we have a video here to show you, and hopefully we're not going to have any tech failures tonight, a little bit about our program highlights. You can see these pieces off to the side, but I will let the video speak first and then fill in any gaps. You're going to get some volume on that.
Families to really become a part of what happens in their child's education.
I think the teachers and staff really tune into each child and tries to bring resources and tools that'll make the child succeed.
As a district, we value the social emotional development of students as much as we value the academics. And we have instructional support coaches and instructional support teachers in STEM and literacy.
Students are high achieving in the Los Altos School District because they have an interest in learning all around, and they like to show their learning. They like to share with the teacher and with each other. They're collaborative.
Our students, I feel like, are getting a really well-rounded program here.
Now, swish your paintbrush in the water and look at how clean your water stays.
We have an amazing art docent program.
1 and 2 and 3.
Phenomenal music education program. Our librarian tunes into what the teachers are teaching in class. We're teaching our students the genre of memoir. She read to them a memoir.
Kids see that learning is all related across content areas. It's not just now we're doing math or now we're doing writing, but you can do all of those things together because learning utilizes all of those skills.
The foundation is proud to support STEM, arts, wellness, and literacy. In all of those subjects, we have junior high electives, so there's things like yearbook, robotics, world languages. We support PE teachers at the elementary schools.
If you look at Los Altos, it's not focused on necessarily just this individual path and growth. Certainly there's that aspect of it, but it's trying to tie it back to communities, trying to tie it back to emotional intelligence, to group work, to leadership. And I think those are the keys for the future.
When students leave our schools, they will own their learning. We have tremendous resources at our disposal. We want far more than a baseline education for our students. We want an exemplary education, and we have it.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. So within that video, you could see different pieces that are highlighted here off to the left. Our STEM program and computer science programs are incredibly strong and begin in our TK and kinder classrooms. We've always paid attention to wellness, but I think this year more so than any other year, we've really been spending so much time talking about the well-being of our students and our staff. Making sure that as we continue to navigate through the pandemic, that we are ensuring that the mental health, the behavioral health of our students and staff is strong. And so we've added lots of additional supports and tools and resources for inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. And our wellness also includes our great physical education program that starts in TK. We have a specialist primary physical education teacher. Our living classroom is so phenomenal with our garden-based science program at each of our school sites with really special lessons where kids get to get their hands dirty and that hands-on learning. And then of course the arts, you heard about our music, our art program, and then our electives once the students get older as well. Lots of opportunities for the arts. Next slide. Let's talk a little bit about our teachers. We have the most amazing teaching staff. We have teachers who care so much about our school district, about the community, and most importantly, about their students and their colleagues. And our teachers are very well-trained teachers. So they have the tools necessary to be able to personalize learning for their students. We have built-in collaboration time during the week so that they can work with their grade level colleagues or their colleagues across grade levels to really ensure that the strategies and tools they're using is what's working best for students. They certainly work very closely with families, and you want a teacher who sees you as a partner, and it truly is a partnership as you begin your educational journey. And then we're so fortunate that we've invested in a really terrific group of what we call instructional support teachers or coaches that are really available to our principals and to our teachers to help hone those skills and ensure that our teachers are really delivering the best. And we are so proud to say 100% of our teachers participate in PD, and that is throughout the school year. And our teachers are great about seeking and continuing to be lifelong learners because that's what we believe about in LASD. Next slide. So here's a little glimpse of our fabulous teachers.
What else could you do to figure it out?
Every single teacher I had, I love them so much.
Let's fix up our vowel power. Check to make sure you have a lowercase b, u, and g. Okay.
It's really important to have great teachers in good schools, teams that share a philosophy and really come together with student learning as a focus and a goal.
Instruction is of extremely high quality here. Our teachers do such a good job teaching students because they know students. When we think about personalized learning, you can't personalize learning for kids unless you know them.
You have to find this one first.
By looking at the individual needs and looking at ways that children can collaborate and work together, it is beyond what you might see in a scripted kind of curriculum, which is a much more traditional type of approach.
If you come into our classrooms, kids will be working with their peers, especially in higher level learning like critical thinking and working cooperatively with each other, because those skills are very important for our children to learn, not only just academics and the skills, but also how to use them and how to relate to people and how to be able to solve problems using the skills and knowledge that they have.
See if this will work.
Teaching and learning for us is always responsive, making sure that who's in front of me is helping inform my instruction. Learning exists beyond that comfort zone, and our teachers are experts at being able to do that.
You want to pause again before that and put there too.
Relationships are the key to pretty much everything in Los Altos. We value relationships with our teachers, with our staffs, with our students, and we know that if we hire teachers who believe equally in that relationship piece, they're going to be successful.
Excellent. All right, next slide, Jeff. There you go. As you're making choices about where you want to send your children to school, I'm sure that it's important for you to know that your children will succeed. And so we're really proud of our longstanding track record in student achievement. It's something we certainly pay attention to. This is older district-wide data. Because of the pandemic, we don't have comparative state achievement data because that has been paused, but we continuously, our students achieve well above both our county, our neighboring districts, and our students within the state of California. So it's really something we certainly pay attention to and assess students throughout the school year, but also try to find a nice balance of assessment. We do not want to over assess students just to assess students. So we really value that formative data that comes throughout the school year so we can ensure that we're individualizing for students. And then because of that, we do certainly expect that our achievement data at the end of the year continues to look strong. Next slide. So engaged community, again, you're coming into a long relationship and you want to make sure that you're going to have a space within this community as well. So lots of opportunities for parents and caregivers to participate in their child's education from volunteering. And we're just bringing back our volunteers at our schools and have been bringing them back for the last couple of months or so, but a great opportunity to really do as much or as little as you're able to do, whether that's in the classroom or throughout the school. So many school-wide events, and I have a slide, I believe, which is next that details some of those, but each of our schools has a terrific PTA, Parent-Teacher Association, who work closely with our amazing school site principals to really kind of lead the community building across our campuses. And of course, we have an incredibly strong educational foundation that we work closely with to be able to provide programs beyond just those basic programs. So the funding that those two groups do really allow us to provide an amazing, well-rounded education for our students. Next slide. So some of those traditions in elementary school, of course, our junior high schools have their own traditions, but each of our elementary schools has slightly different versions. So, but in general, you can expect Friday assemblies. All of our elementary schools, principals run assemblies where parents are invited. They're all outdoors, and it's really a time to either celebrate students, to share news. We, of course, have back to school nights and open houses. There are often beginning of the year social events. Some do a popcorn social, some do an ice cream social. It's important for us as you're getting involved in your community as a TK or kinder parent that you have an opportunity for play dates before the school year begins and get to meet your new community. Our sixth graders have a great outdoor education experience up at Walden West each year. We have walkathons and book fairs, and we're just gearing up right now for our STEM expos, which are open to students across all of our schools and all grade levels. And it's really a great time for our students to delve into an area of passion for them in one of the STEM areas and showcase their learning. And it's really a fun time. So lots of opportunities for you to engage with schools and see firsthand the work that our students are doing. It's really, they are all exciting. So to get a little bit more to the nitty gritty of if you're here to learn a little bit about Transitional Kindergarten, it's a unique program that bridges between preschool and a traditional kindergarten program. So it truly is a transitional program. And of course, we are focusing on the social, emotional, and academic. And really the goal when you leave transitional kindergarten is that you are very well prepared to succeed in kindergarten and throughout your educational experience. This coming year, the window of availability for TK gets wider. So for this coming year, if your child is born between September 2nd and February 2nd of 2023, and will turn 5 between that time, your child will be eligible for next year's TK class. And that schedule is just offset our traditional schedule by 15 minutes. So you can see the times there, Monday through Friday. It's a full day program and really an opportunity. Jeff, can you go to my next slide? I think I get into really an opportunity to strengthen all of the pieces. So when we talk about our programs, in both TK and kindergarten, they really mirror foundational skills in all of these areas. So you can see the daily schedule for kindergarten there. again, just offset by 15 minutes, also a full day kindergarten program. Both of our programs on Thursdays, we do have an early release, so our teachers have time to collaborate during the week, which is really outstanding. Next slide, I think I get into some of that. So I know typically math and literacy are areas where parents really want some more information. So when we think about our TK and our kinder program in mathematics, I'll show you first. This image on the right here is something we've developed when we think about ensuring that kids are doing rigorous mathematics. And rigor is really defined by these three different areas of doing math. We certainly know that students need computational or procedural skill practice, and that does begin developing mostly in kindergarten when we begin addition, but that is not enough for a rigorous mathematics program. We really want to ensure that students understand the concepts of mathematics and have opportunities to solve real problems using the mathematics, and they understand when and how to use it. And in TK and kinder, the areas of mathematics on the left are really those areas that they're working with throughout the year. So counting cardinality and place value for our TK students, they're really trying to understand one-to-one correspondence, that one something, it equals the number, the numeral one, and really solidify these different pieces. They begin looking at patterns when we get into algebraic thinking and move along into really doing fun measurement and data type explorations, and geometry, where students are working on learning shapes. Again, lots of patterning in TK and kinder math, but we're really building the critical foundational skills in TK and kindergarten to ensure that when they get into those upper grades, that they have a solid grasp of number sense, of numeracy, of beginnings of place value. All of those pieces are really so critical for our students in mathematics. Next slide. And so when we think about literacy, those areas on the right, again, TK flows into kindergarten, but even in TK, students are beginning to think about reading comprehension. They're listening to stories, they're retelling stories. These are comprehension skills. Of course, we have a strong phonics and phonemic awareness program. Students are constantly working with letters and sounds, both hearing them and writing them. We start to do some pre-writing in TK, lots of drawing or labeling. That image on the right there is what we call exploratory spelling, where students, and this is a kinder writing, and you can see some of those snap words that we learn in a snap, such as I or was or my, are spelled correctly, but they're inventing or exploring their sounds to their letters as they begin to tell their own stories and become true writers. And of course, we work on those skills throughout kindergarten and beyond, but we of course want to be developing vocabulary, because readers and writers have to expand their vocabulary, and oral language development is critical. We want kids speaking in class with their peers, with their teachers, with the adults all day long. That's how they develop strong literacy, reading and writing skills. Next slide. Oh, so that was just a piece of our programs. Hopefully that gives you a little glimpse of LASD as a district and what our TK and kinder programs provide. And Jeff is going to get into some of the other details.
All right, thanks, Sandra, and thanks for a great overview of our programs. We really are proud of the strength of the program we offer, as Sandra described, both academically and developmentally for children. We are, she said it a couple times, we are very aware of the fact that we are beginning a multi-year, almost decade-long journey with you to prepare your students for what lies beyond Los Altos School District. And the feedback we get from our high schools that we feed into, from our students after they graduate high school and after they graduate from college is that they are incredibly well prepared for what lies next. So we take great pride in that. I think you're probably aware we do have 7 elementary schools within Los Altos School District. You can see them identified there, color-coded. Tough to identify perhaps on this map where your street is. But if you go to the district website, there is the ability to type in your address and you will get information about which school your child is assigned to if you are unsure. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. Oops, did I go the right way? I think we covered that already, yes. I think it's a duplicate. We are living right now in the middle of a pandemic. We are quite conscious of that, and we take the safety and the health of our students and our staff very seriously. We had students back to school quite early compared to other districts in the area. We had students coming back to school last September, beginning to roll them back, making sure that what we were doing was safe and really cared for the needs of, again, our students and staff. Much like our Los Altos School District broader community, we have a high rate of vaccination for our students in junior high school, particularly, who have had a longer opportunity for vaccination. We know that we have a large number of 5 to 11-year-olds being vaccinated right now. And our staff is highly vaccinated. We have very few staff members who are not. In the state of California, face coverings are required indoors right now, so we adhere to that. We emphasize hand washing. That has become a standard practice now, is really ingrained in our students. So there's a lot of hand hygiene. Our students do participate or have the opportunity to opt into and participate in weekly pooled testing for COVID positivity. We do that on Monday and Tuesday mornings at our schools, either Monday or Tuesday. And it's really a dipstick into our classes to understand if there is any positive activity on campus. We have had very little, and we have had no spread when there has been a positive case. So the practices we have in place are working. We also ask our families to complete a daily symptom tracker just to check in on, are you feeling well? We are absolutely encouraging and insisting upon, if you're not feeling well, that you stay home. This is what we hear from our families. Our families are very involved, as you can imagine. We expect you to be involved in your children's education as well. And our families tell us they appreciate our teaching staff. As Sandra described, we have an incredible teaching staff who are passionate about what they do, and more importantly, passionate about who they teach, their students. Our parents appreciate our hands-on learning and the opportunity for kids to dig in and not just learn in one way, not just sit in a classroom and listen to the teacher and learn, but dive in and participate. We pay attention to the entirety of your children, of our students that we teach. We care about their academics for sure, but we care just as much about their social and emotional development, and to make sure that kids are known on campus by name. And as you become a part of the community, you will experience the same thing, being known by name. And as little brothers and sisters get pushed to campus in strollers, they are known and grow up on our campuses as well. And we really do appreciate that and love that. And our families love the strength of our academic program. We have top performing schools in the state of California. We have rigorous academics that children enjoy engaging in. And as I said earlier, they tell us all about their success as they leave us and move on to the next steps of their lives. Just a quick last video for you, hearing from some of those people.
What I love about our district and our community is that we've made the commitment to give our kids the best well-rounded education we can.
Students are learning not in discrete boxes anymore, but really utilizing engineering practices and science and robotics within the classroom.
I love that our teachers teach our children to be problem solvers.
I love Los Altos because everybody's kind.
I love the buddy system. The kids get to mentor each other and they become great friends.
Everyone here cares about you and make sure you're learning and having fun.
We have incredible people at every level: students, teachers, parents, and community.
What I love about Los Altos School District is its willingness to innovate.
I love that we can do a lot of spirit days and be really creative with our learning.
As teachers, we are allowed creativity and the freedom to perfect our craft and really take our students to the levels that they need to be.
Anytime you need help, the resources are there.
We get to have art docent lessons and music. Music gives us the privilege to learn and explore our passions, and so does art.
I love that my teachers give me space to grow, and they always find the best way for us to learn.
I'm very delighted to find that LASD's teaching quality is on par with the best private schools in Singapore.
I love Los Altos because it prepared me for high school and prepared me for the world.
The enrichment opportunities for kids it's beyond what you would normally see in most districts. We're an amazing public school district, and I feel very proud and honored to work here.
All right, if you want more of that, there's a tab on our website. You can check out some other topics. All right, and as you may or may not know, registration is open for the next school year that starts in August of 2022. It stays open, priority registration, through February 18 of next year. That's about halfway through the month of February, just before our winter break. And if you haven't met her already, Bridget is our registrar. I'm sure she's on here tonight listening in. She will be the one you interact with to register your family, your child in our schools, and she is a wealth of information as well. But on our website, there's under the parents and community header, there's a registration tab that tells you everything you need to know to get your children registered. Hopefully our passion for this incredible school district came through as Sandra and I walked you through some slides there. This is an incredible place with incredible people up and down, right? From our staffs to our students to our parents. Really, the power is all of us pulling in the same direction for what's most important, and that's our kids. So with that, we're gonna open up some questions. I'm gonna stop sharing here, and we'll open up some questions. You can just raise your hand, and Sarah Stern-Benoit is a staff member who is going to call out some names and let you ask your questions, and we will do our best to answer them. If we don't have the answer, we will surely get it to you if it requires some research.
Hi, everybody. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce anyone's name. First up, we have Raj. And there you go.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeff and Sandra, for the presentation. Learned a lot. I had a question about the neighborhood schools. Is there a capacity to the neighborhood schools? Let's say we are in the Covington School area or zone, and is there a capacity during the open enrollment, or is there a capacity constraint if we move into that Covington School after the open enrollment period? What happens?
Yep. So that's a great question. We get that frequently. Bridget, I have heard her answer that question many times, and I'll let you let Bridget hear my response as well, because I think they match. We typically, so it is theoretically possible that we would have too many kids at a grade level and we would have to overflow students, right? While theoretically possible, our experience over the last many years, 12 years that I've been superintendent and 3 years prior to that at the district office level, if families register by that pre-registration deadline, there has not been a problem getting folks into their neighborhood school, right? Their assigned school. How it, you know, we typically look at classes of around 25 is our max in a class. So if there were, let's just say 51 students, there would be one student who would have to be overflowed. Again, that hasn't happened. If a child is registered by that pre-registration deadline, so by February 18th in this case.
Thank you. Next question is Priya Krishnan.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I joined halfway, so I might have missed this, but I was wondering whether the Covington School specifically is project-based and has components of SEL. That was my first question. And my second question was regarding the choice schools. I'm not sure whether this is the right place to ask the question, but I'm assuming that the registration deadlines for the choice schools are the same.
Sandra, you want to take that?
Yep. So at Covington School, each of our schools has a component of project or problem-based learning. It is not a full-time project-based learning. There is certainly time where we do directed instruction and a very well-rounded program for our students. But yes, every student in every grade level really has opportunities to engage in project and problem-based inquiry learning, all of those different pieces. Covington does have a social and emotional learning curriculum. They use the second step curriculum is the name of the curriculum. Students are able to engage in lessons that are teaching those comprehensive social and emotional skills. Most of our teachers, if not all of our teachers, begin the day with a morning meeting where we really are setting the stage for what learning looks like today, and really having an opportunity to teach those really critical skills so kids are able to learn. The choice school question, in the Los Altos School District, we do not have a choice school. I don't know if you want to add to that, Jeff.
I apologize. What I meant was the charter school.
Oh, the charter school.
So that's not a part of this school district. And if a choice is made to go there, you're choosing not to have a spot at a neighborhood school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya.
So the next person is Dana Schmidt.
I think if I can quickly expand on something before you, while you're unmuting, Dana. Sandra spoke about the project-based learning and the variety of learning approaches. I think it's really important to understand what we believe as a school district is that a variety of approaches is really important. We would never ascribe to one single approach in learning or teaching, because that having the teachers empowered to make the choices of which approach makes most sense for his or her students for a particular concept or set of concepts is really important. Sorry about that. Dana, go ahead.
No worries. Thank you for that. So I was hoping you could expand a little bit. You touched on this in the previous question, but was curious if you could expand a bit on the social and emotional learning approach in the same way that you gave some more details on the math and literacy piece. Curious whether there's the same program at all of the elementary schools that you just mentioned, and just for a few more details there. Thanks.
Absolutely. So our TK program our TK classes use a program called the Kimochis, and they are the cutest little stuffed feelings. Each of them has a little figure. I wish I had a little picture of them. They're so cute, but the Kimochis. And so in TK, we're really talking about feelings and expression, because we know that oftentimes for young children, in particular, 4-year-olds, just barely 5-year-olds, sometimes a barrier is that they can't express their needs, their wants, their feelings, and that becomes a barrier to learning. So in TK, they really use the Kimochi program to explore feelings, to practice communicating, to understand the differences among our feelings and how we appropriately express our wants and needs. When we transition into kinder and really K-6 at our elementary schools, district-wide, we use one of two programs. One is Second Step, and several of our, oh, thank you, Jeff. They're so cute. I love them. Second Step is one of the programs that several of our schools use to teach, explicitly teach those social and emotional skills. The other program that many of our schools are using is called Suite 360. And but each of them teaches the CASEL competencies, the core competencies for social and emotional learning. So there are different components within the 5 different competencies. Teachers, either through a morning meeting or through a very specific time of the day in the week, might teach an explicit lesson. Sometimes that is based on a scope and sequence of what's being taught, and other times which is more of a proactive approach, that we're teaching these skills in a systematic way. And also there are resources available when we need a more reactive approach. Perhaps there's an issue brewing within the classroom, or something that the teacher notices. So there's a bank of resources available to address a need that a teacher sees. Those CASEL competencies are really terrific. So those 2 curriculums, and then we're also really a responsive classroom school district. So we train all of our teachers in what we call a morning meeting, and it is a way to set the tone of the day for what learning looks like. It's a place to practice. It's a place to build community. It's a place to talk about what's happening as kids get older in our grades. And there are additional components within that program as well that teachers have access to support the needs of their students. So hopefully that gives you a little more detail, Dana.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we have Wenji Lin.
Hello, this is Wenji. Thank you for the presentation. 2 questions. First, is TK students placed in the same classroom with kindergarten students, or they are separated? The second question is what's the major difference that you observe for the kids that go to TK, or they stay with the preschool? Thank you.
So TK placement is a separate classroom. So right now we typically run anywhere from 2 to 4 TKs, but we're happy and ready as the years expand to welcome all of the students who are ready for TK, but they are in their own classrooms with their own teacher, with a full-time instructional aide as well. So it is 2 adults and somewhere between 20 and 24 students, sometimes fewer, depending on how many students are enrolled. So they have their own classroom. The second part of your question, I lost it. I didn't write it down. Jeff, did you get it?
Uh, the second part is whether they're placed in the same room, right? They're separate.
The second question is, what's the difference that you observe for kids that
between
go
preschool.
to TK or stay in preschool?
You know, it's really so dependent. As a public school district, we educate all students when they join us in kindergarten, and we have such a wide variety every year at every single school. We have students who are reading and counting and adding and subtracting when they're just 5 years old and join kindergarten. We have students who come in and they don't know one letter of the alphabet and maybe can identify some numbers. We have students who come in as very beginning English learners who have little to no English. We have the full spectrum. So it's so hard to say, a quality preschool program and a quality TK program both prepare students for kindergarten. But we serve all students, and we take them and get them where they need to be by the end of kindergarten, and prepared for learning.
Thank you very much.
I think important to recognize too, in the state of California right now, the birth dates for qualification for kindergarten, right? Or for transitional kindergarten, it's purely based on age. But that window is growing. Previously, it was until December 2nd. This next year, it's going to be until February 2nd. I think the following year, it's April 2nd, right, for the 23-24 school year. So it's going to increase by a couple of months each new school year until it's a complete grade level, right? So I think it's by the 25-26 school year, we will have a complete calendar year of a transitional kindergarten, and it will be for every 4-year-old who is 4 by September 2nd, much like every other grade level. So Sarah, we're at about 10 to 8. I want to take those who have hands up. So Nirali will be the last hand we take. But Sarah, go ahead.
Next person is Tiffany Chen.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, so this is Henry Lin. I'm my daughter's father. I had a question regarding enrollment. If my daughter was enrolled in Almond and then we moved, let's say, to Sunnyvale, is it possible for my daughter to continue going to Almond through elementary?
So how we typically handle that is if they move during the second half of a school year, we'll let them the child complete the school year, but the following year, they'll have to enroll in their district residence. In this case that you described, Sunnyvale, and we don't have transfers from district to district.
Okay, and then a quick second question is for the after school programs, are there size limits? So like if they can't get in, or is there limits to like the Mandarin class, etc.?
So the Mandarin class after school is an after school program. It's offered at each school. I do not believe they have size constraints for that. The after school care providers, we have the YMCA at some schools. We have champions at other schools. We have Children's House at other schools. Those do have capacity limits.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, next we have Shubika.
Thank you, Jeff and Sandra. Very useful. Some of my questions were answered were asked by previous parents about ACL. I did have one question. Probably it was covered in the presentation. I missed it. What is the ratios that we see in the elementary school, the teacher to student ratios? And how does it change as they graduate to middle school and high school?
Yep. So the teacher-student ratios have a maximum of 25 in grades TK through 3rd grade, and that goes up to a maximum of 30 in grades 4 through 8. I'd say the average, though, we're running right now across the district at the K3 level, the average is probably closer to 20 to 21 right now. And the average at 4th through 8th grade is probably 25, 26, somewhere around there.
And then I'll just add to that, in our TK classrooms, we have a full-time instructional aide with the teacher. So you have 2 adults with the up to 24 or so students. In kindergarten, we also have a kindergarten aide in those classrooms for, I believe, almost the entirety of the day. So again, you have a 2 adult. And then in our 1st and 2nd grade classrooms, we have what we call literacy aids, so that there's a time during the day where an adult comes in, typically during reading time or writing time, to be able to reduce that teacher or adult to student ratio, so there can be more one-on-one focus.
Thank you.
Next is Amy Ramsey.
Hello there. Thank you very much for the presentation. 2 logistical questions, and you can refer me to the registrar if it makes more sense. So first, if you apply after February 18th, are you guaranteed a spot in the district, but it just might not be at your neighborhood school? And if indeed you do apply late, do there happen to be certain schools where there's more likely to be an overflow?
Those are good questions. I can take those. So if you register and you are overflowed, right, to another school, yes, you are always guaranteed a spot in the school district. We'll start with that. What we will work to do is to find you a spot that is closest to your residence. So we'd prefer you not having to, if you live in the Santa Rita attendance area and they're full in a particular grade, we certainly don't want you to traverse the town and end up over at Oak, let's say. So we're conscious of that. Also, because we want to keep you as much as we can in the same feeder school for junior high schools, which impacts ultimately our public high schools, right? Generally speaking, the north side of town goes to Los Altos High School, the south side of town goes to Mountain View High School. So we're conscious of those paths as well. All that being said, we do our very best to try to get you into your neighborhood school if whenever possible.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Erica Saliba Gustafson.
Hi, I actually have 2 questions. My first question is whether it's possible to register for more than one school, so other than just your neighborhood school. And my second question is about after-school activities. When would we need to register for those?
Yep. So your first question, so we also have the ability for on a space available basis, a request to open enroll to a school other than your neighborhood school. What's done in that case is you'll register for your neighborhood school, and then you can also ask the registrar for an open enrollment request, and then on the space available basis, we will look to make that happen. Uh-oh, Sandra, I just did it.
Yeah, I know, the after school programs, I made a
After
note.
school, yeah. So after school programs, those, once the school year begins, well, it depends on which after school program. If we're talking about something like Mandarin or one of our after school activity classes, those signups begin right as school begins. First days of school, you'll begin to learn about the various offerings. If you're talking about the after school care with the YMCA or Children's House or Champions, depending on which school you're at, that you'll want to look into soon, right? I would say right now, start contacting them to find out about their particular registration processes, because they do register separately from the school district.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Jennifer Ye.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. My question is, do you guys differentiate learning? And if so, at what grade level do you do that?
So we begin differentiating, oh my gosh, there's a helicopter right by my house right now. Sorry about that. We begin differentiating learning from the get-go. So our teachers will do some assessments starting off at the start of the school year, especially in the areas of literacy, because we want to make sure that our students, we understand the skills that students are coming in with, so we can best meet their needs. Mathematics, we do some differentiation within the classroom, some extensions, but true like pathway differentiation for mathematics does not happen until 6th grade for us. But we work with teachers all the time to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the students within the classroom. Does that answer your question, Jennifer?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and next we have Nirali Vora.
Hi, thanks so much, Sandra and Jeff. It's been a great presentation. I'm really excited for my son to start in the district in TK. And I was just wondering, given sort of the demographics of our neighborhoods and our teachers maybe lacking in diversity and as compared to other places in the Bay Area, I was wondering how instruction on diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism is going to be taking place at all across the spectrum.
Sure, absolutely. Last spring, our district board, through the work of our district equity task force, did I get the name right, Jeff? Yep. The board adopted the anti-bias framework from the Teaching Tolerance Justice for Learning organization. So we have been using that framework, and it's an excellent framework, and it focuses on 4 standards around social justice and 4 domain areas of identity, justice, action, and diversity. And so right now this year, so 2 things that we're really proactively doing. This year we have a cohort of teachers, elementary teachers is where we're starting, and we have developed a series of lessons to really teach to those standards. Right now we have a group of students, K-5, learning about identity and what that really means, and they'll go through those standards this school year. That's one piece that we're building out that curriculum. And the second piece we've really been doing is broadening our books in our classrooms and in our libraries to make sure that we always like to talk about windows and mirrors for children. We want every child we serve to have books where they can see themselves as the character. But we also want to ensure that all of our students have opportunities to see others outside of themselves. And so we've really spent a lot of time, money, and effort to select books that show a broad diversity of students that may look like your neighbors or may not at all. So those are two big proactive pieces we've been working on.
Thank you.
So we just have two or one other person with their hand up that I wanted to get to before we go. So that's Deval Shah.
Hello.
Hi, Deval.
Hi there.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Sandra. Well, thank you for the presentation. And I missed the early part of it. So my first question was, is there a way we can refer to the content after this so we could catch up on the stuff that missed? And my second question is, my son will be eligible for TK. And I was wondering, I think and I'm new to the US school system. I'm an immigrant, first generation immigrant, so this is very new to me. And I'm trying to understand if it's just applying directly to the school or just applying to the school district, and because TK may not be available at all schools.
Yep. So yes, it is applying to the school district, and then Bridget Stolars, our registrar, will get you routed to the right place, placed in the TK class. We're not sure how many TK classes we're going to have this year. It really depends on the enrollment. So we anticipate having 2, 3, or 4 TK classes. Right now, our TKs are at Santa Rita and at Springer. Trying to locate one kind of on each end of our district. If we add, we will continue to add it to more schools. Our goal, I talked about that full year of TK by 2025-26. It is our goal, and assuming enrollment supports this, to have a TK, at least one TK at every school site. Realize that doesn't necessarily help you this year, but just I think it's important to know where the vision's going. We place geographically into our TK program as much as we can, wanting to place you geographically as close to your home school as we can, if your home school doesn't happen to be Santa Rita or Springer in the case of this year. So that's how that works. Bridget is masterful at all of this, so we'll get you connected as soon as you contact her. And then, yes, we will get this this presentation posted on the district website as well. Thank you for reminding us of that.
Thank you.
Sarah, let's go ahead and take one more, Patty DaCosta.
And this will be the last one.
Hello, hi. I had to join the presentation late, so I apologize if I'm repeating a question. I just had, I was wondering about the homework policy across the district, like in grades kinder through 5th grade. Does it vary at each school, or is there a general policy?
We do have a general board policy, and I would say kinder, I would expect the bulk of homework to be reading and reading with or reading to family members at home. Our students bring home book bags, and we really want them reading as much as possible, even if it's picture books that they're reading and just retelling a story. As we get through and to the older grades, I think by 1st grade, we might expect reading certainly continues, but some very short math practice. And I do mean very short. I wouldn't expect that homework Monday through Thursday is more than 20 to 30 minutes in our elementary schools. And of course, when we hit 6th grade and get into junior high school, that does go up a little bit more as students become more independent.
Great, thank you so much.
All right. With that, I'll just close by saying thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to be here. We fully realize that you are entrusting us with your most precious being. And we take that very seriously, both from the safety standpoint and the emotional and social health standpoint, and the academic as well. We are tremendously proud of our community partnership that we have with each and every one of our parents in the community. And we always want to make sure we're making good on that promise. So thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing your kids roll through the doors in the fall. And we look forward to you contacting Bridget to make sure your child's registered for the coming school year. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.